Hi, folks. Um, for one thing, I suppose it's good to be able to see me as a human. I am. Uh, what I wanted to really talk about today is the paradigm assignment. I apologize that it seems so complicated, and I think part of that reason is that it's spread out over 7 weeks actually, and you can only see 1 week at a time. So what I've done, and I will post this, what I've done is I've taken that piece, the paradigm assignment piece, out of each week and put it together in one document so that you'll be able to see how it unfolds. Yes, Collaborate it's a task to learn to use it. I'm still learning. Uh, but we will get through this together. And so first thing I want to do is um, try to relieve some anxiety about this, because in the end it should be fun. In addition to posting what's going to happen each week, I'm going to sort of go over that right now. And and then when I finish, if you have any specific questions, you can email me about it. I hope that will work for you. So, let's get started. Obviously, the paradigm assignment is an important assignment because it's one of two major assignments. This assignment and assignment 2, which comes later in the semester, and we're not going to deal with here. The paradigm assignment is often difficult to get started on. In fact, I tell students when I do face-to-face that really the hardest part is making a couple initial decisions. And what we've tried to do is to space this out so it doesn't hit you all at once. But unfortunately, since you can't see that spacing, you don't know basically what the hell's going on. Okay? So let me try to do that. Week 1, let's just back up a little bit. What we needed you to do on week 1 was to simply go to that week's lesson and to the Paradigm Project presentation groups. And some of you have already done this, and some are having difficulty with it. But basically, if you follow the instructions and go to a group, and if it has room in it and you want to join it, then you simply add yourself. It will only take 5, so once you get to 5, you'll need, if there are already 5 folks in it, you'll need to choose another group that isn't full yet. So once you get signed up into a group, we'll take a look at week 2, which is trying to use what am I trying to say here? What we were hoping would happen is that you would, when the groups were organized, and you will stay in that group throughout this project, and once you're in that group, the next thing that you do, which is week 2, which is this week, is to go to your group, and if you look down below on the assignment, once you open it, you'll see there are several options, and one of those is a wiki. So each group, and I tried to explain this obviously not very well in an announcement yesterday, but if the wiki doesn't exist when you go to try to post to it, then hit in the upper left-hand corner, Create Wiki. Once anyone in the group has done that, everyone can put their ideas into it. And that's the general idea of a wiki, is that so you can see what other people are thinking about. In this case, we're asking you to simply list a couple of ways using Collaborate, which is video conferencing, much like this, except two-way. What would be the best way to make the points you need to make, and I'll get to those points in a minute, using technology in essence and multimedia. And so that can be, I've had folks do music, do little videos that they've developed, skits that they've taped, PowerPoints, short video clips. Lots of folks use examples out of commercial advertisements to show the difference between the dimension of the traditional and the dimension of the alternative paradigm that you've chosen in your group. Each group will choose 3 of the 5 dimensions of each. Now this week you should be learning about what a paradigm is, that there are 2 types in this conceptual framework, and one is traditional, has 5 dimensions, one is alternative, has 5 dimensions, and they kind of match. They're not totally opposite of each other, but they're partnered, okay? And so what we're asking you as a group to do is to make a decision on the media first that you want to use, and you do that by everybody sort of throwing their ideas into the wiki and then taking a look at those and having a group conversation, either email, Skype, however you want to do it, so that you can make a decision on the type of media. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing that you need to do through that same wiki process is to make some suggestions for which of the 3 dimensions of the paradigm assignment that you might use. And let's see, I have the assignment here, fortunately. And those dimensions are, for example, your group might choose to illustrate your understanding and the differences between traditional and alternative paradigms by comparing masculinity or patriarchy and feminism, or whiteness and diversity, or a scientific approach, positivist approach, or an interpretive, more subjective, qualitative approach to understanding and to gaining knowledge and to valuing knowledge. Okay? So once you get a handle on what the pieces of the paradigms are, and you put your 3 ideas individually for which 3 that you're going to use into the wiki, other folks will do that. You'll communicate with each other. You can communicate in, as I said, in any way you want, and then decide on which 3. Okay? Once you've done that, you're well on your way, because you have, what we're going to use to communicate it, to show that we understand a paradigm and we understand the difference between 3 dimensions of each of the 2 types of paradigms. Okay? And I think one of the things too that's confusing people is that the assignment says construct a model. Okay? That model, it simply means you could develop, for example, a 3D model of what you believe shows the differences between those 2 paradigms. And you could, when we do Collaborate, you could walk me through it. Okay? But that's not absolutely necessary. Most people choose to develop examples, really, of each dimension, traditional and alternative, through media, popular media, video clips, as I said, music, photographs, skits. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to be clear here, okay? So the next few weeks then will be spent on working through that. And I'm not going to go through every element of what I'm going to post, because we're really trying to deal with week 2 and 3 here. Okay? So what I want to do here is get you through week 2, which is to communicate through the wiki, to post 2 possible media that you think might work, and 3 dimensions of each paradigm that you as an individual would like to show in contrast, compare and contrast, okay? Then the group has to decide together. It needs to come to agreement on the 3 that the group will decide. And usually when people start posting, individuals start posting, you'll see a good bit of overlap among your other group members, so that it's not that difficult, usually, to choose the 3, because they kind of come out. You'll see more than one person choosing the same 2 dimensions, for example. So that's all we need to do this week. Next week, I think, is going to be very important. And when it goes up, all we're going to do next week is learn to use Collaborate and the technology that's available to help you do the presentation. Okay, so let's not panic yet about how the hell do we do this. I mean, I understand the confusion because it's not a typical assignment. It asks you to use uh, something other than pencil and paper to communicate your ideas, preferably in a way that the other students in the class will gain understanding, deeper understanding of the dimensions you're talking about. When we do that, you'll have 30 minutes. It says 20 minutes in the paper, but we actually give you 30 minutes to do the final presentation, and that's done in week 7. Okay? So we have several weeks to get ready for this. So next week we'll mess with Collaborate some. We'll look at some other ways that you can creatively do this assignment. And I think we'll be on the road then. And then your group assignments, and it is a group grade, your group assignment then is done by your group whenever y'all can get together. Okay? And, I'll be glad to respond to questions. And Elaine Terrell, who is our instructional designer for the course, also knows this stuff, and I go to her a lot. And so if you send me a question, I can't answer it, and you'll notice in individual emails, I always CC Elaine. Okay? So I'm going to look at this video and see if it makes any sense at all. And if it does, I'll post it. If it doesn't, I'll try it again. Okay? So at the end, I'm trying to give you 2 tools. One is my explanation through this video, and the other is a compilation of each week's activity related to the assignment up to the point that we actually present the assignments. And we'll schedule those at a number of different times so that you can find one that will work for your group. Okay? Thank you, and I hope this helps, and maybe it's the beginning of something. If this is helpful to you, I'll try to do more of these around content instead of just the assignment. Okay? Thanks a lot.